Sometimes I feel like the hardest part about these videos is coming up with a joke to make in the first 6 seconds. Hello and welcome back to a Squirrel Plays. Today we're going to be getting back into some world building because it's been far too long since I've done that, and we're going to be focusing on religion. And all you need to know about religion is that mine is right and yours is wrong, unless you believe what I do, in which case you're right. See how easy that is? I don't know why all these preachers be having so much trouble out there. But what about a fictional world? How do you go about creating a religion in a world of dwarves and elves or space squids and cyber whales? Do you even need to make a religion? Maybe not. That's just one thing we'll take a look at. And on that note, I should give you fair warning that there is no particular order or grand overarching point to make in this video. It's just a handful of questions and thoughts to help inspire and get you through the process, whether it's for a ttrpg, a video game, a book, a movie, whatever. So obligatory squirrel disclaimer, I am not your dad, and what I say here isn't any kind of writing law you have to follow. You're free to write and create however you want, and if my nonsense helps you out, then that's great. And if it doesn't, here's hoping I at least kept you entertained. And with that all out of the way, grab your best Pope hat and let's do this thing. So first thing on the list here I'm going to get into is what is sometimes super obvious, but at the same time, not. And that is, not everybody believes the same thing or the same way. And you might be thinking with the more sarcastic side of your brain, wow, such brilliant insight, Mr. Squirrel Man. But look, I've seen it happen. It's an easy trap to fall into where you make a religion and just say everybody follows it. And to be completely fair, sometimes you don't need to explore it depending on what your project is. Playing a fantasy ttrpg and passing through a small town? Not only is it believable that most of the folks there would have the same religious beliefs, it isn't going to play much of a role in your game unless you're investigating a corrupt church or something. A movie or a book where the religion is at the very least mentioned and it's assumed everyone follows said religion properly, might be best to leave that line out. And if the religion does play a role in your story, think about this. In our own world, Christianity has a magnitude of varying beliefs. Some think that the mother of Jesus was without sin, as Jesus couldn't be born from a sinner. Some think she was a normal sinner like the rest of us, but was chosen to bring Jesus into the world. And then some think she was a floozy that just made the whole thing up to stay out of trouble.
Holy Sigma! Repent! Repent!
And that's just one point. Some think you should pray to the saints. Some consider that idolatry. Some think dancing is a sin. Some put poles in their church for pole dancing, and of course it was Texas. Some think a limited number of people are going to heaven. Some think anybody can go to heaven so long as they do X, Y, Z. And some think everyone is going to heaven regardless. The list goes on and on and on, as does the list of different variations of Christianity, and all of those are supposedly worshiping and believing in the same God. So long story short, don't be afraid to shake it up a little bit amongst the people of your world if it doesn't distract from the story being told. But on the note of shaking it up and people believing differently, that does let me slide into another point. And that is, people get it wrong sometimes. Translations are hard, man. It's bad enough trying to figure out what the weird words say from a couple thousand years ago, but trying to figure out the context it was written in is even harder. So naturally, mistakes happen. Now, this probably won't come into play too much unless 1, your plot revolves around a mistranslated piece of ancient text, or 2, your story is covering a long period of time or is part of a series. As the years go on, people may learn and discover new things that bring new meanings to old texts that may or may not drastically change what the people of your world originally thought to be true. And another thing that happens over years passing is that people tend to add things to a religion or remove for one reason or another. And you could add to the channel's sub count by hitting that like and subscribe button. Oh, baby! I would also like to add that a religion can be a very powerful thing. In your fictional world, just like reality, a religion or common belief can both make a community and divide a community. Religion and spiritual beliefs are a powerful driving force. People will come together for that belief, and they will often die for that belief, which of course can lead to some very nasty conflicts when they meet another group of people that believe differently, but just as strongly. While not so great in the real world, it does make for some nice storytelling. Your fictional religion will also shape how a community grows and develops. If your people are of the belief that Mother Nature provided everything they needed and everything else is a sin, then technologically they probably won't advance very far. Meanwhile, another group whose god encourages knowledge and advancement will put a much higher priority on technology because that's not only what they need to survive, it's what they believe in with their heart and soul. And let's face it, when your heart is actually in it, you do a much better job. And similar to people getting things wrong as mentioned earlier, a little mystery in your religion is a good thing. I mean, think about it. It'd be a little bit weird if your people knew everything there was to know about their religion. Would kind of defeat the purpose of faith, wouldn't it? A good example of that would be the mushroom people that we made for everybody to play as in our last campaign. The god they worshipped was the stone mother Lamont, and they didn't know if Lamont was there first and gave them life, or if they evolved and grew over time on their own into the mushroom people they are, and it was their worship of Lamont that gave her life. They didn't know, and they never will know. Well, hang on, that's not entirely true. I guess the players did find the truth at the end of the campaign because that ended up playing a pretty big role in the story, but still, you get the idea. Nobody ever said they told anybody what they learned. And originally, I had a couple other big chunks I wanted to go over in this video, with one of them being me just asking a series of random questions and getting the concept of a fictional religion underway, but as always, it was making the video too long, and it was kind of getting off into a separate type of video. But that does raise a question for me to ask all of you, so please help me out here. Do you guys and gals prefer shorter videos around the 10-minute mark that make an attempt to stay on point, or would you prefer much longer videos that bounce around a good bit? So for example, would it be better to keep this video where it's at and then have another video where I go through a series of questions and work on making a religion to kind of show you what the process can look like and hopefully give you some inspiration, and then yet another video talking about different sources of inspiration and how you can use them? Or would it have been better to make this video like 40 minutes long or something? Obviously, it works better for me to split it because that's 3 whole videos I can make and release on a regular schedule. Whereas if I made much longer videos, they would just be coming out as I could make them. And while I would love to do things that way, we all know YouTube's algorithm isn't a fan of it. Although if I'm being totally honest, the pressure of trying to get a video out every 2 weeks is probably good for me. But I am curious to hear your thoughts about it and which way you'd prefer, or if there is a totally different approach I'm not thinking of. Lord knows I need to do more streaming around here. One of these days I'll get this YouTube thing figured out. Anyway, how about a shout out? This one for sure is going to Natty Champ, assuming I'm pronouncing that right. A video about world building religion was his idea. Never you mind the date on that suggestion. And technically it was supposed to focus more on ttrpgs, but you know what? I may have missed that part until I got to the end of this. Maybe that'll be yet another video about religion. I tell you what, we're going to be the Church of World Building by the time we get to the end of this. And on that note, the Church of Scrat blesses you. Make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts about videos, as well as a comment about some of your religious world building experiences. Have you made some religions before? Did you make a bunch of cool gods? Did you do it just so the players could kill them? Did you have that one DM that thought he was a god? Squirrel out!